Well, today's the day. It's Tuesday night here at the Dunn's house. My hairdresser, Allie Dunn. Thanks, Allie, for participating in this. I am happy because you guys raised, your friends, your parents, other people at the church raised over $1,000 to donate to Shelter Link, a homeless youth shelter here in Stratford. We're going to be giving them a check probably before you even see this video, either tomorrow or on Thursday. Either way, I committed that if you raised $1,000, I would bleach, blonde, dye my hair. So tonight's the night. We'll take a bunch of clips of the process, and you'll see it at the end. Bye.
So I have no idea what this looks like, and I won't see until it's all done. Let me know what you think. So now we are at the halfway point, and I don't know what this is on my head. I still haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it to the end, but wearing some type of cap to let the dye soak in. I'm assuming that's what's happening.
Yeah,
so
spin for them.
No, slower than that.
we can slow-mo this in post.
Go.
Oh my gosh! I look like a superhero. Oh my gosh! That's so funny. Okay, I look like, I don't even know how to explain it. Remember the show Dragon Ball Z? And they would power up and their hair would explode and go more blonde and bigger every time? That's what it looks like. This is the big reveal. Oh my gosh. What? That's way blonder. Oh my gosh. My mom is gonna kill me. I like it. It's rock and roll. Looks good. Look how light it is on the inside. Well, I'm not sure if I feel like putting the camera on tonight, but maybe I will. I don't know. I'll take a second and think about it while you guys, I don't know. You guys can convince me to turn the camera on in the chat. All right, here we go. I forgot there's always a delay. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you think it suits me? Does it look real? Oh my gosh, I feel so dumb and so silly. But I think I'm going to rock it. I'm going to rock it for a little while, as long as I can, and then I'll probably chop it all off. Because there's no going back from whatever happened here. Like, it's blonde. Like, look at the roots. The roots are like white. So yeah, that's it. That's my hair. Let me know what you think in the comments. Some people today at the office were mentioning that I should do my eyebrows too, but yeah, I definitely wasn't feeling that. But I want to let you know something really cool. The grand total was $1,100 and I believe $70 or $75, almost $1,100 or $1,200, which is incredible. And we are getting a check written up today, and I will be delivering it to ShelterLink on behalf of Bethel students / church. And I'm excited to put a smile on some people's faces. So give yourself a pat on the back. And I'm excited for just the things that God's going to have us be a part of again in the coming months, and how we're going to continue to serve our city and our fellow friends and students that we might not even know yet. And we're just going to see an impact happen. And maybe we'll dye someone else's hair by then. But anyways, I did it. Kept my word. You kept your word. We raised over $1,000 for homeless youth in Stratford, and that is just incredible. So anyways, we got a couple of videos tonight, and tonight I'm just really excited. I'm really excited to preach tonight. I feel like God's put a special word on my heart to share with you. We're going to be looking at the story of Joseph tonight, and maybe you know it, and maybe this might be the first time you've ever heard it or read it. We're going to go in depth about his story, what's happened to him, and learn about some really important takeaways. But before we do that, let's get into some of the content that you guys made. This was a last minute one I just randomly filmed today, and for some reason I could not get it to not be sideways, so you might have to turn your head to the left a little bit. But check this out. I thought this was funny. This is Ben Edinger, one of our co-op students. So both Ben Edinger and Ian Broadhagen are doing co-op with me right now at the church. And Ben obviously is fluent in German, if you didn't know that. Quite good at it, actually. Even better than English. And it's funny because we came up with this idea of him complimenting people in German, but it sounds angry. So the other person doesn't know it's a compliment. So we tricked one of the pastors at the church. So check this video out. Are you ready?
I'm so nervous. Is she in her office?
Let's go.
She doesn't seem like she's in her office.
Wednesdays are my tackle my to-do list days.
They're your what?
Tackle my to-do list.
Oh. You know what?
Pastor Melissa!
Ja!
Du siehst wunderbar aus!
What? What? What?
Du siehst wunderbar aus! Nice. That's all you want.
That didn't work out so well for Ben now, did it? We obviously filled in Pastor Melissa afterwards. I think I don't remember quite exactly, but I think he was saying, "You look really nice today," or he was having some type of appropriate comment, and was actually saying something really nice. It just sounded really angry. So we might be filming some of those more in the future, because I just thought it was hilarious. And speaking of Ben, we got our next episode of Some Time with Ben. So why don't we go ahead and watch? This one is gonna need to hang onto your seat for this one. It's gonna be a crazy ride. Baby Ben. Telephone Ben. Ben with no arms. Dirt bike Ben. Rockstar Ben. Cat Ben. Sometime with Ben.
Hello?
Hi, is this Ben?
Yeah. Yeah, this is Ben. Who is this?
This is James.
Hi. James, I was just about to call you, actually.
Well, Ben, I need to tell you something. I haven't been updating you, recently.
Yeah, what is it?
I got out. I somehow got out of the false reality. I can tell you right now, in fact, that I am in the real world. I'm not joshing around. And nothing is controlled or manipulated. I'm free.
What? What happened?
Well, after Jared found out my name, he sent an agent after me. I don't know what happened. It was really a blur. Next thing I know, I'm lying on the ground. The other agent's there. And I stand up and accidentally step on a teleportation device. And I'm out in the real world. Free.
How do you know? How do you know you're in the real world?
Well, yeah, I'm 5 years younger, and it's weird, because, you know, I didn't think I had parents and siblings and a real life. Like, almost like a job, too. And, there's something else.
Yeah, what is it?
In the real world,
Uh-huh.
we're best friends. We have been for the past 6 years. Best friends for 6 years.
What?
I have pictures of us, memories of us. We met at school back in the 7th grade. We went to church every Sunday. You know, youth groups on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, do you remember Wednesday nights? We even got the same job in grade 11. And man, we had some really good times. Driving around in your car, late night talks, listening to music. None of this, nothing from seeing me or hearing my voice reminds you of that?
Hello? Hi. Hi. Hello, viewers. This is Jared A. Dean, the director and producer of Sometime with Ben. Thank you for watching my show for so long. I wanted this show to be funny, be humorous, and wanted to get people to laugh, but the Seven have had other plans. They've ruined it. They made everything serious. James Bro has become obsessed with escaping, and turns out that Agent Daniels is actually Lucas, my editing and effects person. I've had to take things seriously too now. So unfortunately, for this episode, things have to stay serious, and I need to go and talk with Ben, the 15-year-old star. I do want next episode to be funnier, though. Let me go check on Ben quickly, because he has to still be in my reality.
We have a lot to talk about. You need to escape. You need to find the Seven.
Yeah, I will. I want to join the Seven. I have to go.
Ben, escape. Ben, you need to escape. Get out of there. Ben, escape.
What are you doing here? I overheard you just joined the Seven? Yeah, what about it? Listen to me, Ben. This is your life. Those people are lying to you. It's all in your head. Then why don't I remember my childhood? Why don't I have any parents? Then you don't have to do this. Yes, I do. You're making me. You're the one in control of all of this. I made you a TV star. What more could you want? I don't know. Freedom? You have freedom. You're a 15-year-old star. You have tons of privileges. People love you. Is that what you call freedom? No. I want to be able to walk out of this reality unharmed. I want to live my normal life. You're my only problem. Fine. And shoot me. Come on. That was really serious. Do you think that was too serious? It's what Mr. 18 wanted, so I don't think it was too much of anything. But there was nothing to laugh at. But it helped the story. I mean, yeah, it was necessary for the storyline. Like, James escapes the false reality. Ben finds out they used to be best friends, which grows the emotional relationship between them. And Jared admits his failures and kind of catches us up to speed. But, Lucas just got fired. And as the new editor, I need to make a good impression. And I feel like people are going to think I suck. Are you even listening? Sorry. You're so good. Why are you Jared's assistant again? Because my name is Arthur and I'm the best assistant in the world. Anyways, I'm definitely gonna try and make the next 2 episodes funnier. If we're even filming the next 2 episodes. I mean, now that someone got out, what if more people get out and then we won't even be filming anymore? Because we won't have enough actors, won't have enough producers and effects artists and whatever. I don't know. Yeah, then everything would be real world stuff. What's the outline of the false reality again? Well, anything outside this house, I think. Anything filmed not in this house is real life. So everything filmed in the house is in the false reality? Yeah, that is what I just said. So that means anything not filmed in the house is in real life? You're still repeating what I just said. So that means we're in the false reality because we're in the house, and other people are in the false reality because they're also in the house, but other people that are not in the house are in the real world because not in the house is the real world, and outside the house everything is real, but we're in the house, so we're in the false reality, and we don't even... I can't anymore. Anyways, I'm going to bed. Okay? I'm going to bed now. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Probably a good idea. Especially for you.
And that was this week's episode of Sometime with Ben. Clearly, there is some drama going on between all the Bens, Jared A. Dean, Arthur, the new producer who looks a lot like Ben, Lucas getting fired. Very sad, very sad. Lucas, if you're watching, my condolences to you. Hope you find a new job as soon as possible. What I would love to do, as Ben continues to make some real good movies for us, what would you want to see in the next episode? No promises that he'll put it in. I've given him creative freedom. But what would you want to see in the next Sometime with Ben episode? What would you want to see happen? Let me know in the comments. Of course, today is sponsored by Sparkling Water Pomegranate. The 7. Right on. Some more Arthur. Arthur sounded a lot like Ben with no arms. Just a thought. A giant fight scene against Ben and the agents while he's trying to get out, Avenger style. Yeah. A funny fight scene with the 7. Like them fighting each other. That could happen. What else? If you got any other ideas, put them on here. Maybe Ben will see them. And maybe he might take your suggestion, or maybe he might throw it in the toilet. But that doesn't matter. So we're going to move on, as you type in some more, to our next segment, which is...
Your vote plus other votes can make a lot of votes. So make sure you vote. 'Cause every vote counts. Every vote, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Every vote counts. Every vote counts. All votes count. Every vote counts.
All right, it is time for every vote count, so you know what to do. We are going to come up with the next topic to vote for. We're going to have 8 different subjects to that topic, and we're going to vote for maybe what's the best or the worst one of that. So let's head over to our voting screen. There we go. And you're going to let me know let me bring this one up. You're going to let me know in the comments what you're going to vote for. But before we even get to that, we got to figure out what we're actually voting for today. So if you are with me, let me know in the comments what we should start voting for. Best TV show. That's a good idea. Best movie series. Lucas says hello, everybody. Hey, Lucas. What's up, dude? Look, I'm blonde like you now. Best snack food. Favorite Ben. What else are you guys thinking? What do you want to vote for tonight? Best Jedi. Best TV show. Okay, that's 2 votes for best TV show, and every vote does count. All right, I think we're gonna go with best TV show because we haven't done anything like that recently. So let's go for that. Best TV show. I'd love to do something like Star Wars, but not everybody's seen Star Wars and will understand it. So, although anybody that hasn't seen Star Wars, if you're allowed, you should definitely watch it because it's awesome. Okay, we got 8 different TV shows here that we could vote for. So let me know in the comments what kind of, what's your favorite TV show, and if it's awesome, let's put it in the top 8, and then we're gonna vote. Let's vote on the best topic to vote on. Best Sith. Best movie series. We should do that one next time. Ooh. Mandalorian. Good show. Okay, what else we got? We won't put Some Time with Ben in because we know that one's gonna, that would be the best. It would win. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. What else? Oh, Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Blue Bloods. I've never really seen that one. Is that a Disney Plus show? Netflix show? TV show? WandaVision. Nice. I'm only on episode 2 of WandaVision, and I'm excited to watch the rest of it because I've been slacking, you know? That's ironic. You can't slack on watching TV unless you're like a TV critic. It's about a family of cops. Okay, we'll hang on to that one, and we'll see what everybody else says. If not, we'll get it in there. What else? We got 18 people watching, and we got like 5 people talking. So I gotta know what your favorite show is. The Office, okay. Classic. Full House. That is awesome. Guaranteed nobody else except for you, Maddie, has seen that. Although it is a great show. Well, maybe Katie, maybe Jill. And maybe somebody else has watched it. What else? We got room for 3 more. Big Bang Theory, pretty funny. Blacklist, good show. Dora the Explorer. Friends. Ben, do you actually watch Friends? The Flash. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, we got room for 2 more. Oh, American Ninja Warrior. Yes. Has anybody actually been to a trampoline park where they have the big, like, looks like a skateboard ramp that they have to, like, climb up and grab the end? It's like 15 feet tall. Oh, Seinfeld, one of my favorite shows. I'd be voting for that, but I'll leave my favorite show out because then I become biased. We got room for 1 more, so I'm going to wait till a bunch of people send in a few options, and then I'll pick one. Did I spell Mandalorian right? It says that I didn't, but Mandalorian. Yep. Please, Blue Bloods. All right, Isaac, I'm putting in Blue Bloods because you really want me to. No promises it's going to get very far, though. Oh, Sugar Rush. Oh, also a good show. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 to 20 seconds. If I should can one of these shows and replace it with a different show, you got 10 to 20 seconds to convince me. Go ahead. Also, I'm kind of digging the blonde hair now. Now that I see myself in the camera for the last half an hour, I'm kind of getting used to it. It's not bad, you know. It's growing on me. Get it? Ooh, Recess. Replace WandaVision with Peppa Pig. All hail King Julian. Cusco. Oh, my wife is naming some of the greatest shows. But they're kind of all past your guys' time. We're old farts. Also, this blonde has done wonders for my gray. It's really covered up all my grays. All right. Looks like we're going to go with these 8. So, to begin, we're starting off with Mandalorian versus Blue Bloods. Maddie's saying they have Disney Plus. They can watch all of them, no excuses. If you have Disney Plus, that's true. They're basically all on there. Okay, what should go to the next round? Mandalorian or Blue Bloods? And maybe those that have watched Mandalorian, one of you can actually type what it's about. And those that have watched Blue Bloods, you could type what it's about. Mandalorian. See, I knew this was going to happen. I gotta sneeze. Oh boy. Okay. Sneezing isn't cute, especially on camera. Okay, what are people saying? Mandalorian, reason, Baby Yoda. True, Baby Yoda is very, 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 very cute and powerful. Blue Bloods because it's law enforcement. Okay. Jill hasn't seen either of them. Well, it's time to catch up, specifically with Mandalorian. You know, explaining Mandalorian. It's a Western and Japanese-inspired Star Wars series featuring a character with a shiny helmet. George hasn't seen the shows. Hey, George, that's all good. Maybe one day you will. Maybe one day you won't. You're not missing out on much. Don't worry. Basically, Blue Bloods is about a family of cops with the father as the police chief, and the department is full of problems. That does actually sound pretty good. Kind of typical of a police show, but I'm sure it's great. Jill says, I have never seen anything Star Wars related. Mandalorian is a bounty hunter from Star Wars who looks kind of like Boba Fett, and there's a thing called Grogu or Baby Yoda, and it's cool and action filled. So boom. You know what, guys? I knew this was going to happen. Isaac, I just want to apologize ahead of time. Blue Bloods wasn't going to make it very far, man. But that doesn't mean that it's not a great show. And you should love it, because you do. Okay, next up, we got The Office versus WandaVision. The Awesome versus WandaVision. What do you guys think? What are you going to vote for? Kind of feel like putting some beats in behind here. Hopefully that's not too loud. Just got a little bit of beats in behind. I turned it down. Is that better? Okay, what are people saying here? WandaVision. Sorry, George. The Office, WandaVision. George, your vote still counts, so you can vote whatever way you want. And we'll actually put an explanation for each of the shows. And then you could vote on what you read in the explanation if you want. Looks like we got a lot of votes for WandaVision. Luke is saying he's seen The Office a few times, but has never seen WandaVision. It's a new show on Disney Plus. It's part of the Marvel series. The Office is an older show from the early 2000s about silly office workers that do silly things. WandaVision is taking place after Endgame. No spoilers. Hey, Elena's here. Good to see you, Elena. Well, not see you, but at least read what you type in the comments. Molly said to vote WandaVision, so I'm going to vote The Office. Right on. Well, it looks like WandaVision has taken the win over The Office. Okay, we're moving on to the next show. The Fresh Prince of Bel Air versus The Flash. Let us know in the comments which is the better show. Elena, this is the first time you're seeing the blonde. What do you think? Does it look good? Can I pull it off? Or should I shave it off? Okay, Fresh Prince of Bel Air versus The Flash. So the Fresh Prince of what is FPBA? The Fresh Prince of Bel Air has Will Smith in it. It was basically his first big acting gig, and he's sent to live with his aunt and uncle, who are millionaires and they live in this mansion. But he's from the hood, and it's just a comedy show, and it's hilarious. It's a classic. It's probably almost vintage to you guys. But it's so good, and you should watch it. If you got Netflix, I'm pretty sure it's on there. And it's a clean show. The humor is clean. So, it's a funny show. Okay, what are people voting for? Fresh Prince. Ian's voting for The Flash. Georgia's saying Flash is DC, and DC sucks. Fresh Prince, not trying to be mean, but to the DC fans. This might be in the middle. I don't know. I might actually have to count this time. Now we got 19 people viewing right now, but not all 19 people are voting. And every vote counts. That's what this game is called. So we need you to vote in the comments. Your vote counts. It's important. Ian Elliott saying The Flash seasons 2 and 3 are way better. So I'm assuming that season 1 is not that good. Elena's saying I could totally pull off the hair. Thanks, Elena. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Lots of votes for Fresh Prince. Does anybody else feel like voting The Flash? This might be your last chance. Okay, looks like Fresh Prince is taking the win for that one, which is good. Fresh Prince is a classic, and it should win that round. Okay, next up, we got American Ninja Warrior versus Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, let's start with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a show that is part of the Marvel series. If you've seen any of the Marvel movies, you know who S.H.I.E.L.D. is, not as a person, but a group of these undercover people. And this is kind of about their story. I watched it. I liked it. But it wasn't really like the movies. And personally, my vote doesn't count tonight. I'm not voting. But I was kind of let down. On the other side, we have American Ninja Warrior. American Ninja Warrior is a show where contestants compete to be America's Ninja Warrior, and they're put through these obstacle courses, human life-size obstacle courses that are intense. And if you've ever been to a trampoline park, I know the one in Kitchener, I think it's called Flying Squirrel, appropriately named, actually has one or two of these courses, and they are way harder than it looks. Like, so much harder. These people are just like, they are physically built, and they train to be able to do these kinds of things, and it is crazy what they do. Anyways, let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ninja Warrior. American Ninja Warrior because beasts. True. Sorry, feeling a little snotty tonight. America Ninja Warrior. Lucas with the ninja emoji. I love that there's a ninja emoji on YouTube live stream comments. Season 4 is kind of like Sometime with Ben. 3 more votes for American Ninja Warrior. Atticus has an American Ninja Warrior shirt, so he's got to go with it. I'll give you guys 10 more seconds. If you're just tuning in now, we are in our segment called Every Vote Counts, and we're voting for the best TV show. And we have 8 different options here, but right now it's American Ninja Warrior versus Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if you're watching, your vote counts. We want to hear from you. I want to know that you're there watching on the other side of this camera. So let me know in the comments. Let us know you're here, and join in on the votes, okay? That's okay, Elena. Even though you missed Sometime with Ben, you can always go back and watch it after. All right. Think we're going to cap this one. Looks like American Ninja Warrior is taking the lead for that. Okay, we are now in the semi-final round. We're moving on. We got Mandalorian versus WandaVision. This is Star Wars themed show versus Marvel themed show. This is going to be a interesting battle in the comments. Hey, Carly Martin's here. Let me know though, which show should move on to the final round. And as you do that, I'm going to go blow my nose. All right, your boy is back. What are you guys saying? Ooh, I like both. Got to vote for Mandalorian. Star Wars versus Marvel. Star Wars, no contest, apparently, to Isaac. Apparently, he does not really enjoy the Marvel series. Lucas doesn't know any of them. That's okay. I don't like the kids in WandaVision. Baby Yoda, come on, come on. Miles is saying Mandalorian. That is a tough one. Jack saying they're both so good. WandaVision because I have no idea what would happen next. It is true. It's a pretty good cliffhanger show. It's also a pretty confusing show. I'm only on episode 3, but Henry says Mandalorian. Nice. Jill hasn't seen any of them. It's really unfortunate. I think one night we should just binge an entire season of WandaVision and Mandalorian, so that way we can catch Jill up. What do you guys think? Mandalorian has Baby Yoda eating soup. Mandalorian has more memes. Okay. Isaac saying, I don't like Marvel. I'm your DC boy. Ooh, those are fighting words, man. Those are fighting words. You don't want to start nothing in the comments. Well, this was a close one, but it looks like Mandalorian has taken the win. All right, next up in the second round of the semifinals, we've got the Fresh Prince of Bel Air versus American Ninja Warrior. Which one's going to move on? You got to let me know in the comments. My dog's just being suspicious in the back. What are you doing, Moose? Being suspect right now? Being sus? Hey? Come here. Okay, we've got some votes coming in now. Elena likes both of them. We got a triple vote for Fresh Prince. I'm surprised nobody said anything about the theme song yet. Like, when you think of Fresh Prince, you sing the theme song, the whole thing, immediately. Even if you don't know or like the show, you probably know and have sang the theme song at some point in your life. My thought process is that if the worst one wins, Mandalorian will win. So Fresh Prince of Bel Air. George, what you're saying is you think Fresh Prince of Bel Air is the worst show. That upsets me. I'm offended by that. I forgive you. Because you don't know better yet. But one day, you will see the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. You will know the theme song. And it will change your life. Carlos sing the theme song. Just not feeling it, you know? Ever since I dyed my hair blonde, just not really into singing theme songs. On the Bethel Students live stream on Wednesday nights, starting at 7 p.m. Fresh Prince has dancing. That's true. Atticus, can you do the Carlton? If you do, the first night that we're back together in person, I want to see it. All right, we got too many votes for Fresh Prince. That was an easy win. Although American Ninja Warrior is sick, but it kind of has there's 10 different shows that are kind of the same thing. Like Wipeout, although Wipeout is not really like American Ninja Warrior. Everybody on Wipeout just literally wipes out. Anyways, Fresh Prince takes the win. Okay, we are down to the final round here. You guys have put in the idea for the best TV show. I gave you 8 different options. You put in The Mandalorian, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Fresh Prince of Bel Air, WandaVision, The Office, The Flash, American Ninja Warrior, and Blue Bloods. 4 of those got knocked out in the first round. 2 more in the second round. And now we are at the final round. And we are down to Mandalorian versus The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Every vote counts. So what are you going to vote for? Of course, I have to put some tunes on for this. I looked up the song. He doesn't look like a prince. He's a fresh prince. Wow, this is going to be tight. It's going to be a tight race for this one. Mandalorian has quality characters. It's funny and has cuteness and fights. Isaac still ranting about DC. Baby yoga. Is there yoga for babies? That'd be weird. Mandalorian was filmed in only one room. It's true. Basically green screen CGI the whole thing. Which also means that the whole thing is fake. Fresh Prince was filmed in a real house in LA. You can actually go there. Somebody owns it now, but you can see it through the fence. It's private property. You might get arrested. This is your last chance. Get those votes in. You voting for Mandalorian or the Fresh Prince of Bel Air? All right, I'm going to start counting these up. All right. Looks like. Drum roll, please. You guys voted for Mandalorian, so Mandalorian takes the win. They have won. They have won. I was hoping that Fresh Prince of Bel Air. It's a vintage show. Very vintage. Love it, though. Anyways, thanks for playing. Every vote counts. We're going to our next segment tonight, and it's one of my favorites of the week. Oh my gosh. Do you guys see this? This was not planned. Oh my goodness. That actually scared the crap out of me. This is what happens when your neighbors live beside you and they're also students. Wow, that's like a real lightsaber.
Yeah? You want to say something more crazy than that?
Are you guys seeing this? Give me one of those. Let me see one of these. This is crazy. I'm so glad this happened because we're a little short on videos today. So now we're about to have a lightsaber battle in my living room. But they got to make sure they don't break my TV.
Yeah, I don't want to break anything. He wants to try something, yeah? You want to try something with him? Actually, I'll take you through it. I'll take you on that. Yeah, I'll just for color purposes. Alright, so you're going to come here?
Wait. Why did iTunes turn on? Okay.
Okay. You're gonna swing this way, then this way, then this way, then this way. Okay, go ahead. Okay, you wanna try this one? It's a little bit longer. There you go.
Wait.
What?
I'm a sip. Dead. You're dead. You're dead. Whoa, we can like actually hit with this, eh?
Yeah.
Not gonna smash or break.
Okay, go.
Go get the moose. That was epic. I just got owned in a lightsaber battle. Did they text you?
Yeah, Ben called me. That's why I locked the door.
That was amazing. I wish we had like Star Wars backup music so you could hear that. That was hilarious. Never happened to me before, where somebody has ambushed, broken into my house, challenged me to a lightsaber battle. But now I have seen and experienced everything important in life. And I hope that one day your friends break into your house. Well, I guess Maddie let them in, but we'll call it a break-in and challenge you to a lightsaber battle. I also let them win because I had the red lightsaber and the bad guys never win. I don't know why I was the bad guy. I want to be the good guy. I wanted to be a Jedi. Didn't happen though. Looks like some of you knew that this was going to happen. That's crazy. Okay, where were we? Sandy was just here with Joseph, but Sandy is also in Bible college, and he's studying. He's doing university credits, and that's a lot of work. So we're going to give Sandy a little break from Silly Songs with Sandy. So tonight is his final song for the foreseeable future. And maybe in the future, we will have him back on the live stream to do Silly Songs with Sandy, or maybe something else. We'll give him to preach, do something awesome, lead some worship. Anyways, last Silly Songs with Sandy. So let's take a listen.
And now it's time for Silly Songs with Sandy, the part of the show where Sandy comes out and sings a silly song. So without further ado, Silly Songs with Sandy.
Yeah, here I am with this last silly song. Correct me if I'm wrong, but something about this topic seems wrong. Sandwiches, that's a topic, and if you're gonna spread the hate, I'm gonna tell you to stop it. Yeah, calling him a line with a new topic. So I checked it out, said something about a sandwich. So let's go on how to manage a sandwich before I eat it, then it'll vanish. Yeah, first we gotta get the fresh bread. If any damages and you're sick in the head, whether you like white bread or multigrain instead, you gotta make sure you got the mayo to spread. Yeah, make sure you're like me, you got the sauce. Ketchup, mustard, relish, it don't matter. You the boss, I'm not trying to tell you how to live, it's your call. Put away the Vegemite before make your brain small. Yeah, gotta make sure you got that meat, but just like with this heat, don't pick it up off the street. But can I tell you a secret between you and me? The meat that you choose has to depend on the cheese. You got cheddar, mozzarella, even plastic, but you blasted if you go with plastic. I mean, like I said, to each their own, but how you gonna call the cheese when it looks like a traffic cone? Yeah, plastic cheese is an abomination. If you're gonna put that on your sandwich, you need to, I'm sorry, you need to get checked out. There's something wrong. Anyways, don't use plastic cheese. You're better than that.
Well, it's a bittersweet moment. Our final Silly Songs with Sandy song about making a sandwich. And they all looked really good. And I'm kind of hungry. My favorite line from that song is that plastic cheese looks like a melted pylon, a street pylon. I'm also sad, George. Very sad, very depressing. But thankful for Sandy and all he's done to make us laugh. I know it might have seemed like a ridiculous thing to do every single week, but there was actually a point behind it. And I just want you to know this because you're the one that's been on the other side laughing at these songs. We know that this season, I'm going to flip the page here, going all serious on you for a second. We know that this season, this year has been incredibly difficult. And sometimes we just need a good laugh. Would you agree? Sometimes we just need a good laugh. It's good for our health, literally. It's good for our soul. So give Sandy some clap emojis in the chat and give him a big thank you for helping bring a smile to our face every Wednesday night so far of the year. And hopefully we will see him in the live stream again one day soon. That being said, normally now we would go to our next segment for Talent Takeover, but unfortunately nobody sent in any talents this week, so we got nothing to show. So I want to just ask you again, if you got a talent, something awesome that is unique to you and that's something that you love to do, please send us a quick video, and we want to feature you because we want to show off your awesome talents. So no talent takeovers this week. Also, I got a message from Jack, and he is still working on the Stark Tower. He had a real busy week, and so we're gonna give him one more week. We're gonna be gracious. We're gonna practice grace and mercy in this moment, and we're excited to see what. We had a live talent takeover. I guess, yeah, you could call it that. We're excited to see Stark Tower next week, Jack. So, anyways, we're gonna move on to one of the last things tonight, and if we have enough time following the sermon here, we will play another round of Quiplash if we have enough time. So with all that being said, I'm excited to preach tonight, but before I do, let's take a moment. Let's pray, okay? Lord, thank you for a fun night, God. Thank you for awesome students, great friends. Lord, I just pray that everybody listening in right now and those that will be listening in later, Lord, that as we look to your word, as we open our ears and our hearts to hear from you tonight, God, that we would be drawn closer to you. God, that we would not leave this live stream the same, but God, we would have our full attention and we'd be fully devoted to you. So God, would you just come in this moment? Would you fill each of our houses and our rooms with your presence? And God, may we be changed and look more like your son, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen. Hey, if you agree with me, throw an amen up in the chat. Okay, let's get started. If you have a phone that you're not using for the live stream, or if not, go get some paper or paper and pen and pencil, a notebook, something. I think it's really important tonight that you take notes. It's going to be really important. We're going to be asking some self-reflective questions. Okay, so you don't have to type them in the chat, but you do got to write them down. Okay, it's going to be really important. So make sure you go and grab that stuff before we get fully started tonight. I see lots of amens coming in. Awesome. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be titling this sermon, A Year in Reflection. Okay, tonight's topic is A Year in Reflection. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Today we're going to look back over this past year. We're going to recognize the challenges, the hardships, the difficult seasons, but we're also going to remember the wins, the blessings, and the outcome. We're going to look at where we were and where we are now. And then at the end, we're going to set some goals for where we want to be in 2022, a year from now. And if you didn't know, by the way, I think it was last week would have been 1 full year since we were locked down as literally a world, as a nation. And I know we've had ups and downs since then of being open and then shut down again and open and shut down again and being able to travel and not travel. But basically, it's been 1 year of this craziness. So we're going to take some time tonight to reflect over this 1 year. Talking about crazy years, crazy stories, in my opinion, one of the most crazy stories in the Bible is the story of Joseph. And maybe you've heard the story of Joseph, or maybe this is going to be your first time, or I'll give you a good reminder tonight. It's found in the book of Genesis, which is the very first book in the Bible. If you open the Bible to the very beginning, about 30 chapters in, you would get to Joseph's story. So we're going to try and look into Joseph's story and glean some truths from how he lived his life and how that's going to be reflective of how we're going to live our lives in this next year, moving into 2021 and 2022. So let me give you a broad overview, the helicopter view of Joseph's story, and then we're going to go a lot more deeper into it, okay? So there's this dude named Joseph. He was the son of a guy named Jacob, and Jacob loved Joseph more than all of his other sons, okay? So we're starting off there. Joseph's dad loved him more than anybody else. He gives him this special jacket and he favors him. And what that happens is it causes his brothers to be really envious, really jealous. And the Bible says that Joseph's brothers hated him because of it. Imagine that. Imagine your mom or dad or your guardian saying, yeah, I love your sister, I love your brother more than everybody. Like, that would just be like, what? Crazy. So his brothers make this plan to kill him. That's how much they hate him, that they're like, we should just get rid of him. We should end him. We should kill him. So instead, moral of the story, don't pick favorites. True. So instead of killing him, they steal him when he's not looking. They throw him in a big hole, in a pit, And instead of killing him, they decide to sell him as a slave. They take his coat back that his dad gave him, and they put some blood on it from a sheep that they slaughtered, and they lied to his father about his death. So they pretended that he was dead. So Joseph is sold as a slave to a man that bought him named Potiphar. He gains the trust over time with Potiphar and is elevated to a high position in Potiphar's house. Okay, so he was kind of like this low slave, and he became more trustworthy in Potiphar's house with the jobs that he was being given. Potiphar had this wife who fancied Joseph. The Bible actually even talks about how Joseph was like a strong, good-looking dude, and Potiphar's wife took notice of that, and she tried to get Joseph to sleep with him. Yep, literally that's what it says in the Bible. After a few failed attempts by Potiphar's wife, Joseph decides to legitimately run away, leaving behind his coat. She frames him with the coat that was left behind. Okay, then she tells Potiphar that Joseph tried to sleep with her. And she's like, look, he left his coat and then he ran away. So Potiphar, obviously believing his wife, gets super mad, super upset, finds Joseph, puts him in prison. So then Joseph is in prison. He eventually gains favor and trust with the warden, the boss of the prison. And he moves up in the prison. He actually becomes in charge of everybody that's in prison. As a jailmate, he is like in charge of the prison under the warden, which was pretty interesting. So he finds favor with them. And in prison, Joseph meets this man that was sent to prison by Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's the guy who ruled all of Egypt. Joseph interprets this dream that a man that was sent to prison by Pharaoh to remember him. Joseph interprets his dream and asks the guy that goes back to Pharaoh to remember him and tell Pharaoh to get him out of this and that he interpreted the dream. This man doesn't remember him at all, which was pretty crummy. Years later, Pharaoh has another dream and it needs to be interpreted. And that man that he once sent to prison can't interpret the dream, but then he finally remembers Pharaoh. And then, so Pharaoh gets Joseph out of prison, and then Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream. And Pharaoh puts Joseph in charge of all the land of Egypt. And then the story concludes with this. The land, basically from the dream that Joseph interpreted, there's a famine, meaning that they didn't have any food and all that kind of stuff. This famine happens throughout the land. And this caused Joseph's family that once betrayed him, that was going to kill him and murder him, and sold him as a slave instead, like that's much better. They have to travel to Egypt to survive so they can get some food because of the famine. And then they finally see Joseph, who once they sold as a slave, now becomes a ruler. So, why do I bring up this story tonight? Well, I think the life of Joseph is quite a lot more dramatic than what we're going through currently. Yes, masks, they're not fun. Having to be social distant, it's kind of a drag, etc. But these are the challenges that have been placed upon us in this past year, for over a year now, actually. And though these restrictions aren't the worst thing in the world, they have caused some real deep emotional and mental pain. They've created scenarios and situations in our life that are more difficult than we can cope with and understand. We've never had to go through something like this. So this is the helicopter view of Joseph's life, of his trials, and how God continued to show his faithfulness to Joseph. And Joseph actually shows us some practical things of how we can learn. So let me read that again. Joseph also shows us some practical things that we can learn that helped him bring him to the place of where he ended up. So we now know kind of the outline of Joseph's story. And now I'm going to go through 4 main things that we can learn from Joseph and how he continued to be faithful and how that got him to the next season in his life, even with the crummy stuff that was going on. But before we do that, I want to ask you this question. This is a really important question. So if you're with me tonight, please comment in the comments. You're going to have to be a little brave with this. There's always the first one that has to do it, but this is really important tonight. And if you're not comfortable with the comments, at least make sure that you're thinking about it and you're talking to yourself or sibling about it. Before we look at the 4 points, I want to ask you this question, if you would be bold enough. What has been the most difficult part of this past year? let's take a moment and let's be honest. Let's be real with each other, and let's reflect over 2020 and the beginning of 2021. With lockdown, with COVID, a health crisis, with mask restrictions and social distance restrictions and education, what has been the hardest, the most difficult part about all of this for you? If you'd be bold enough, would you let us know in the comments? And we're going to talk about that just for a little bit. And as you guys are typing that in, I'll definitely share. I'll be the first one to share. Is one of the most difficult parts for me this past year has not being able to go and visit family, both mine and Maddie's extended family. As you know, a couple years ago, almost 2 years ago, I had lost my dad tragically to cancer, which means that my mom, now being a widow, is on her own. And that's really difficult. It's really difficult when I can't see her face to face, and she's not really techie, so we don't FaceTime or do Zoom calls that much. So the best I can do is a phone call. And that's been really, really difficult. Maddie's sister also had a baby last May, I believe. Harper, she's the cutest little thing, big cheeks, and not being able to go and visit our niece and our sisters and brothers has been incredibly difficult. It's been so hard. What are you guys saying? Lucas saying not seeing friends and family. Yeah, totally. Isaac, online learning. Man, I can't even imagine the stress and the difficulty of what education has been like for you guys in this past year. It's not anything like it was before, and it's so difficult. And I commend you all for the way that you've adapted back and forth from the government shutting it down to opening it up, and having to do Google Meet classrooms and Zoom classrooms and all that kind of stuff, and then you're back in but you're masked and can't really hang out with your friends at school. It's so difficult. What else has been difficult for you guys? Would you be bold and brave and let me know in the comments? Saying it's been crazy, not a fun year. I agree, it has been a very crazy year. Getting used to the new world that we live in. Yeah, change is difficult, and adapting to our experiences and what we have to go through now is so difficult. Here's the thing, these moments and experience that we've had in the past year, those are our prisons. Those are our betrayals. Those are our loneliness. Those are our brokenness. We don't have to compare our hardships to Joseph's. So I'm not saying that one is easier or one is harder. I think it's the principle of this is that Joseph had to walk through some really difficult times and seasons in his life. And this past year has been one of the most difficult seasons that we've all ever walked through. So let's take a look over these next few moments, and let's look at the life of Joseph. Let's look at what he specifically stayed true to. Let's look at his character and how that helped him overcome the difficult seasons in his life. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but life is life. Even when COVID is over, eventually there will be something else that totally rocks our world. It's happened since the beginning of time. Long story short is because sin is in the world. There's going to be something else, and we gotta learn what it means to be faithful followers of God, to learn from the stories in the Bible, from those people, and apply those principles to our life so that we can see through the difficult seasons. So we're going to look at 4 different points tonight. The first point that I want you to write down if you're taking notes, and I would really encourage you to take notes tonight. The first point is listen and obey. The first thing we're learning from Joseph tonight is that he listened and obeyed God. And here's the reason why this is one point, is because listening to God is great. But if he calls you to something, if he, commands you to do something, if he asks you to be a part of something, if he challenges you, listening doesn't get you there. It only gives you the knowledge of what God is asking you to do. Actually being obedient is the second part. They go hand in hand. Like prayer and fasting, listening and obeying go hand in hand. Hey, Isaac, I know that the chat's there, but this is the point where I want you to be taking notes, okay? All right, we're going to read Genesis 37:5-11. So starting at verse 5, it says this. Joseph had a dream. Important. Joseph had a dream. And when he told it to his brothers, they all hated him all the more. They said to him, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. And then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. Listen, he said, I had another dream, and this time the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing down to me. When he told his father as well and his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Here's the thing. There are going to be times throughout your life where when you listen to God and he speaks, he's going to give you a task. He's going to call you to something specific. And it's going to sound insane. It's going to sound completely crazy. It's going to be very unnatural, and your flesh is going to want to reject it immediately. We don't know if Joseph, from that dream, woke up and just said, yeah, I definitely should go and tell my brothers right now. Or if he wrestled with it. I can imagine being a human being, he probably questioned. He probably wrestled with that dream, that idea, what God was actually speaking to him. We don't know because it's not specifically written in the Bible, but I can imagine. But we do know this. God spoke to him in a dream. Joseph listened to what God was saying, and he obeyed God when God revealed to him what the dream meant. There has been moments in my life where I knew that God was asking me to do something, and it just seems so crazy. And I can imagine there's been moments in your life where you know God was speaking to you, that he was saying something, and you just didn't know what to do with it. You're like, am I really supposed to say that? Like, am I really supposed to go through with this? Am I really supposed to do that? What about when God asks you to give something away that you worked so hard for? You ever had that feeling? What about when God asks you to become friends with that person at school that nobody else wants to be friends with, and it's going to cost you your popularity? What about when God asks you to honor your parents, even if for some reason you don't think they deserve it? There's going to be many times where God asks you to do something, and it's going to seem so contradictory to what you think is right and what you think you're supposed to do. But this is where obedience comes in, okay? Obedience only counts when it disagrees with your flesh. Following something that you agree with is not being obedient. Following something that you don't agree with is obedience. Joseph exemplified listening to God and obeying God so far in this story. And here's the thing. God doesn't set us up to screw us over. He will bring you through the season. He will bring you through this season. So the first thing you're going to learn tonight from Joseph's story is listen and obey God. Let me ask you this question. What would this year look like if you really took time to quiet yourself, to quiet your distractions, carefully listened to what God wanted you to do and did it, even if it was crazy? What would this year look like? What would change? We're going to keep reading. And we're going to learn that Joseph tells his family about this dream, them bowing down to him. They make this plan to kill him, but instead they sell him into slavery. Like that was much better. But he trusted and obeyed God, and it got worse. His situation got worse. Genesis 29, 1-6. Oh, sorry, that should say 39, 1-6. Says this. Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. this is bolded here for you. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered. And he lived in the house of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted the care of everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care, with Joseph in charge. He did not concern himself with anything except for the food he ate. Through the tough season, God kept care of him. Even though his family abandoned him, God saw him through the season. You and me right now, we are going through a season. Are you listening to the voice of God? Are you quieting yourself? Are you removing your distractions? And when you know what God is asking you to do, are you going through with it? Are you being obedient even when it's hard, even when it's crazy? What would this next year look like if you listened and obeyed God? Point 2 I want to talk about tonight is this. Write this down. Run from sin. Yes, you've heard it before. Run from sin. Repentance, it means 180, to turn 180 degrees the other way. Run from sin. Let's keep reading. Genesis 39:11-15 says this. One day he went up to the house to attend his duties, and none of the household servants were inside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." This is Potiphar's wife. But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. When she saw that he had left his cloak in his hand and ran out of the house, she called her household servants and said, "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew man has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came here to sleep with me, but I screamed. And when he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." So next in this story, we're learning that Joseph gets promoted by Potiphar. Potiphar sees that God has favored Joseph, that he actually has blessed Joseph, and then all of Potiphar's house and his belongings and his field and his crop and his work is being blessed. But his wife starts crushing on him, okay? Here's the truth. Joseph, in this moment, probably could have gotten away with it. You know why I think that's true? Because I get away with sin all the time. You at home tonight, you get away with sin all of the time. You might live your whole life and no human being on this earth will ever know that you did something. And I'm not even talking about sexual immorality tonight. I'm just talking about sin in general. The secret sins that nobody else knows about. You can live your whole life getting away with it. Joseph probably could have lived his life getting away with it. He probably could have kept it a secret, but he chose to run from that bad opportunity and trust God. But here, look what happens next. Joseph runs from sin and he gets framed and thrown into prison. Verses 19-23 say this. When his master heard the story, his wife told him, so Potiphar, saying, "This is how your slave treated me." He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But Joseph was there in the prison. The Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all of those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Do you see what's going on? Do you see what's going on here? Joseph has to be obedient to God. He listens to God. He follows God. Life happens. Really bad stuff in life is happening. He chooses to be obedient. He chooses to listen. He chooses to run from sin. And every time he chooses to do that, his situation didn't necessarily get better right away. But it says that God was with him and God brought him through. So he gets put into prison. He's framed for adultery. He's literally framed for trying to sleep with Potiphar's wife when he didn't do it. He actually was obedient to God and ran away. And he's framed. He's put into prison. In a sense, part of the lowest of the low of that time. But he was still obedient to God. Let me ask you this question. What would your year look like if you really chose to run from sin? Even if you can get away with it, even if nobody else would find out, what would this next year look like if you chose to run from your sin instead of hide it, thinking that it's not a big deal and you could keep it a secret? How would your life change? How would it be different? Point 1, listen and obey God. Point 2, run from sin. Point 3, this is so good. Use your gifts, expect nothing in return. Use your gifts, expect nothing in return. Genesis 40, 1-8, then 13-15, then 20-23. I'm just breaking it up a little here because we don't have time to read everything. It says this: sometime later, a cupbearer and baker of the king of Egypt offered their master, the king of Egypt, or offended, their master, the king of Egypt, who was Pharaoh. And Pharaoh was very angry with these two officials, the cupbearer and the chief bearer, and he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended them. We both had dreams, they said to Joseph, but nobody was able to interpret them. Then Joseph said to him, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you your position, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you used to when you were his cupbearer. But when all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness. Mention me to Pharaoh, and please help me get out of this prison. I was forcibly carried off of the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. Now the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday. He had given a feast for all his officials, and he lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the presence of his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position, so that once again the cup was put into Pharaoh's hand. But he impaled the chief baker, just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. So no, I kind of broke that up. It might be hard to understand. These two guys, they make Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt, ruler of all the land at this time, really angry. He puts them in the same prison that Joseph's at. They end up being together. Joseph attends to them. He takes care of them in the prison. They have these dreams. Joseph interprets these dreams. Joseph's gift from God was that he can interpret dreams. He could interpret prophetic dreams. So he interprets their dreams. And he says that Pharaoh is actually going to restore your positions. He puts you in prison, but he's going to bring you out and you're going to serve him again. That's exactly what happens. This past year has been incredibly different. It's been incredibly difficult. But I wonder if we honored every single opportunity at our door to honor and to serve others with the gifts and talents that God has given us. I wonder what kind of year we would have. Sometimes when we're in a hard season, it is so easy to become apathetic. It's so easy to say, you know what, I don't care anymore. It's so easy to give up. We can choose to forget what God has blessed us with, what kind of talents that he's given us. And we can forget about other people, or we can begin to not serve others, and we can become selfish and apathetic. And sometimes we only choose to display those gifts and talents because we're going to receive something, that we're going to get something in return. But Joseph chose to use a gift that God gave him, interpreting dreams. Even when he was in prison, he was in the worst point of his whole life. And he still said, God, you've given me this gift and I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm hoping that this is going to help me get out of prison, but even if it doesn't, I'm still going to do it. He knew that God was faithful to him and that he would be faithful again. But his friends, the cupbearer, they forgot about Joseph. All he asked was, I'm going to do this for you. I don't expect anything in return, but please remember me when you're out of prison, hoping that they would help him get out of prison in the future. And Joseph continued to be stuck there in prison, wrongly accused for adultery. Let's keep reading. Genesis 41, just a few chapters later, says this: when 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. So, context there. Joseph's forgotten about. He's in prison for 2 years. No contact with these guys. They don't remember him. I wonder if he felt like giving up. I wonder if he became apathetic. I wonder if he started not to care. I wonder if he forgot about using his gifts. I wonder if he decided that he was going to give up. 2 years had passed, and Pharaoh had a dream. A little later in the story, it says this. The chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I am reminded of my shortcomings. Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker to the house of the captain of the guard," which is really funny. He kind of sounds like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. He's talking to Pharaoh, but he's saying, Pharaoh was once angry with me. So anyways, he keeps on saying, each of us had a dream in the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. Now there was a young Hebrew man there with us, servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was impaled. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph. 2 years later, the cupbearer finally remembers Joseph. Pharaoh goes, "You know a guy that can interpret my dream? Okay, I'm going to go get him." Pharaoh sends for Joseph, quickly brought him from that prison. Pharaoh asks Joseph to interpret this dream. Joseph says this to him, "I cannot do it." Joseph replied, "But God can. God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I hereby put you in charge of all the land of Egypt." After he interpreted the dream, Pharaoh is brought out of prison, put in charge of all the land of Egypt. And the interpretation of the dream had to do with the famine in the land, that they needed to, build up stock so that when the famine came, they actually had food and that they wouldn't starve and die. Let me ask you this question. What would this year look like if you would really choose to give without expecting something in return? What would this year look like? What would be different if you chose to give in your gifts and your talents without expecting anything in return, even in this hard, difficult season? We talked about the importance of listening and obeying God in a hard season. We talked about the importance of running from sin in a hard season. We talked about the importance of continuing to serve others with our gifts and talents that God has given us, expecting nothing in return, even in a hard season. And the fourth point I want us to look at tonight is to choose humility, be humble, and forgive quickly. Choose humility, humbleness, and forgiveness. Genesis 42, a couple chapters later, says this, verse 5-7. So the sons of Israel joined with those who were coming to buy grain, for there was no food in Canaan. So the famine has happened. People are traveling now to Egypt so that they could get some food. Joseph was the ruler of the land. He was the one who sold grain to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed to the ground in front of him. When Joseph saw his brothers, he knew who they were. So here we've read, and you can continue to read the next few chapters if you want to know more of the story, of how Joseph had the ability to show up his brothers. He had all the right to go, "I know you guys. Look what you did. And look at me now. I'm a king. I'm a ruler of all the land. I'm not going to give you any food. You tried to kill me. You sold me as a slave. I'm going to let you starve." He could have done that, right? He had the ability to do that. Nobody would have questioned him. He would have had all the right in the world to do that. But he didn't. His brothers, who once sold him as a slave, were now bowing before him, begging him for food all these years later. But Joseph chose. He made a choice to be humble. He made a choice to show them mercy. He chose to forgive his brothers who hurt him so badly. They're the ones that helped start this train wreck of events. Series of unfortunate events is basically based on Joseph's life. Bad seasons that happened for numerous years. He chose to be humble, to show mercy, and to forgive. So let me ask you this question tonight. What would this next year look like if you chose to be humble in a situation where you could be right, but you choose to be humble? What would this year look like if you decided to show mercy, to extend grace? What would this year look like for you if you chose to forgive those that so badly hurt you instead of punish them in the way that they deserve. Tonight we've taken some time to reflect on this past year. We've looked at some of the difficult seasons and the things a part of that we've been walking through. And we're going to continue to walk through them together. And we've also looked at the painful story of Joseph and how he continued to be faithful to God. Now, God kept his promise to be faithful to him. Joseph listened and obeyed God's call to him. Joseph legitimately, with his body, ran away from sin and a bad opportunity. He gave something to others without anything in return, using his gifts and talents. And he stayed humble after God brought him through the storms, showing mercy and forgiving those that hurt him. Where would our lives be a year from now if we took these same principles and applied them to the storm that we are currently in? Imagine what God could do with that. So we're going to take the next few minutes and we're going to apply these kinds of things. I would like us to take a few moments and brainstorm where we want to be as a group in the next year. We know that there's going to be storms and challenges that we're going to continue to face, but what is our goal? What kind of person do you want to be in 2022 on March 10th? I think it's the 10th. Yes, March 10th, 2022. A whole year from now. What kind of person do you want to be? So we're going to take a moment. We're going to brainstorm. And I would love for you to be bold and courageous and just put even just one answer in the chat. Do you want to be more loving? Do you want to be more kind? Do you want to easily forgive? Do you want to listen to God more? Do you want to make more room and time for him? Do you want to obey God by obeying your parents, your family, and your friends? Do you want to pray for your enemies more often? What do you want to do? What kind of person do you want to be a year from now? I'm probably going to mess up this saying, and you've heard it before, but people who plan to fail to plan. Sorry. See, I knew I was going to mess it up. People who fail to plan to fail. Let me say it one more time. People who fail to plan to fail. So we're going to plan right now. We're going to take these few moments. We're going to be bold. We're going to put in the comment just one thing you want to see in yourself that's different a year from now. Who do you want to be 1 year from now? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the same person that you are right now? Or is there something in your life, in an area in your life where you want to grow? Let me know in the comments. I want to be more patient. I want to listen to God. I want to be more loving. It's good. I want to stay close to people and God at university. Oh, that's a great one. I want to be more patient. Man, we can always use some more patience. Isn't that true? Who do you want to be a year from now? It's a very important question that we ought to ask ourselves more often on a regular basis. The kind of person that we want to be. So let's plan. Let's plan. Who do you want to be? We got 15 people currently watching in the live stream. A couple people have commented. Thank you for being bold. Who do you want to be? Let me know in the comments. Be bold tonight. Be more loving and kind. It's good. I know this is a big question. I can imagine everybody sitting at home right now in your bedroom, your living room, and you're deeply thinking about this, wondering Is somebody going to judge me if I type the kind of person that I want to be in the live stream? And I don't think anybody's going to judge you. But even if you don't feel comfortable commenting tonight, I totally respect that. And that's all good. But I want you to take this question seriously. Who do you want to be a year from now? Now, that's only the first part. The next part is actually setting goals to become that kind of person. And when you set goals, God is actually going to help you along the way, even through the storm, even through the hard seasons. What kind of person do you want to be? How are you going to get there? I have a thought. What would your year look like? What kind of person would you become if you decided to quiet yourself, listen to God, and obey Him? I wonder if you wanted to be more loving, if you wanted to be more kind, if you wanted to be more patient, if you wanted to be more forgiving, if you wanted to be more graceful. I wonder if we began to quiet ourselves, really listen to God's voice, and obeyed when He spoke to us. I wonder if that would change something. I think it would. I wonder if we would reach our goals if sin wasn't in the way. I wonder if we didn't spend so much time focusing on the desires of our flesh, and instead we should be focusing on the desires of our spirit. I wonder if that would help us become that kind of person we want to see ourselves as a year from now. We're all dealing with our own sins. We're all in the same boat here. I wonder what it would look like if we literally chose to run from it. I think it would help us. I wonder what kind of person we would become. And I wonder if it would help us become that kind of person if we chose to serve others around us, expecting nothing in return. God has blessed you, gifted you, anointed you, given you a special call, something that only you can do. I wonder if we committed to that call. I wonder if we used our passion, our zeal, our gifts, our talents, served those in the circles in life around us, expected nothing in return. I wonder if we would be more of the person that we want to see ourselves as a year from now. And last but not least, I wonder if we were staying humble. I wonder if we stayed humble, if we chose mercy and forgive those that hurt us, if we would be more like the person that God is asking us to be, the person that we want to see ourselves as. I wonder if any of those things would help. And when I see Joseph's story, what we've gleaned is that he committed to doing all those things. In the toughest seasons, God was faithful. God brought him through. And he came out on top. I want to take a moment and pray for you tonight. I know this is kind of difficult to do over the live stream, and maybe you're tuned out tonight, or maybe you're sitting there and you're like, Pastor Carlo, I'm here. I'm listening. I hear you. I might not be talking in the chat, but you're speaking right. You're right to me tonight, right to my heart. I want to pray for you tonight and everybody else that's watching right now and in the future. And I just want to pray for us to be committed. That's our word that God's given us this year, for us to be committed to seeing through the difficult season, because there will be a day when we come out on top as we continue to be faithful. So let's take a moment. Would you pray with me? Lord, thank you for tonight. Thank you for every student. Thank you for every parent. Thank you for every person that is tuned in tonight and in the future. Those that are watching and have been listening, God, to these words. Lord, I hope that I've been able to convey a message tonight that is not my own, but Lord, that is yours. May your word, your love letter to us penetrate hearts tonight. God, as we look up past and reflect on this past year, there's been some hardships. Some of us have struggled a bit. Some of us have struggled deeply. God, some of us have fallen into things that we so regret, and we don't realize how we've gotten there. Some of us have become apathetic, and we begin to not care as much about the things we used to care about. But God, we want to be more of the people that you've chosen us and called us to be. So Lord, we're setting these goals. We have a picture of who we want to be a year from now. We don't want to waste another year. So God, would you help us become those people? Would you help us listen to your still soft voice? Would you help us obey, even when, Lord, even when what you say seems just crazy sometimes? God, the sin that's in our life, would you make it, would you identify it in us? Would it hurt? Would it be something that we no longer want to be a part of? God, would you help us run, literally just run from sin when it approaches? God, help us focus on the Spirit instead of the flesh. God, I think of Joseph's story tonight. And Lord, the way that you were faithful and the way that you brought him through. God, we know that you have been faithful before in our lives, and you will continue to be faithful again. God, you've given each and every one of us gifts. So Lord, help us use those gifts to serve, to love on all those that are around us, from our friends all the way to our enemies and anyone else in between. And God, without expecting anything in return, but just because we can. And Lord, keep us humble. As we come through these difficult seasons, keep us humble. Remind us that you are the faithful one, that you are the giver, that you are the good one. Lord, help us show mercy and to forgive those that have hurt us. Show mercy to the seasons and people in our life that have been difficult. God, I just think of any student that is sitting at home right now, and this is not the same as what we're used to, and it's not a same altar call, but Lord, I just pray that if there's somebody at home listening right now and they're just feeling down, or they're feeling ashamed or hurt, Lord, would you just reveal yourself to them? Would you reveal your love to them in this very moment? Would they know that, Lord, you love them, you care about them, you want to see them through? Lord, would they know your faithfulness in this moment? I pray. Even physically, that they would just feel a warmth right now, knowing that you're near. God, we've set a goal, but your goals, your plans are way bigger. They're way better. Help us see what those are. Bring us through this season. Lord, help us continue to be faithful to you as you've always been faithful to us. All these things we name in your name, we pray. Amen. 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 Well, I don't think we have enough time for Quiplash, unfortunately, because I do love that game. So we're going to have to find some more time at another time. But I want to say thank you for being here tonight. I hope that you've enjoyed tonight's live stream. Thank you all to those who've continued to make content. Thank you again, Sandy, for all of your silly songs, and everybody else. And I'm excited for next week, for next Wednesday. Some important things to make note of is this Sunday is our first Sunday back live in the church. People in the church. It's going to be awesome. It's already full, but we are going to have an overflow room. So if you want to be part of that, you can sign up for the overflow room. And we're going to be going to 2 services later on. So stay tuned for those announcements. And that being said, because we are moving into in-person services, we're also looking at having youth on Wednesdays in person again, where we can hang out face to face. It's going to be so good. There's not a date specifically set for that yet, but as we figure more of that out, I will of course inform you. If you don't follow us yet on Instagram at Bethel Students _, it's the best place to stay tuned for any kind of info or updates and news that we post. If you don't have Instagram, you can still see it all on the website. So bethelstratford.org/students. So you go to the Students Ministries page, scroll down, you'll see all the posts from Instagram. They go there automatically. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm so excited for the future. This is going to be one of the best years yet for our youth group. I'm so excited about it. I hope tonight that you were challenged, that you were convicted, but you were also inspired and encouraged by Joseph's story to be closer to God and to know that he is faithful. As always, I just want to remind you that if there's anything that we can do, myself, my wife Maddie, our leaders, Jill, Bryden, Katie, if there's anything that we can do to help you, to serve you, please let us know. Most of you have our numbers, but you can always send us a DM or text message or any of that kind of stuff. And we want to, we just wanted to let you know that we love you and we think you're awesome. And we do this every week because of those things. So that being said, we're going to end the stream tonight. This is your chance to say bye in the chat. Thank you for being a part of Bethel Students. Thank you for being committed to God, being committed to each other, being committed to Wednesday night. We'll see you, if not on Sunday. Come, Sundays are even better than Wednesday. I know, I'm the youth pastor saying Sundays are better. Come hang out on Sunday. If not, we will see you next Wednesday. Okay? All right. Peace.